Hello, my fellow citizens of all nations. Today is my birthday, and I decided to tell you the story of life change. Because at the moment we are born, it is very important and traumatic experience. Because when we are born, it is shock for us because we come to this world and we cry, obviously, and we feel probably something, but we don't remember the feeling because as newborns we are just like any other animals would be. We don't have much of a memory and we are just eating and shitting, and we need to be taken care of. And this is how we are born, basically. We have this idea of telling to each other, happy birthday to you. And I believe these words are very important. When we have a birthday, usually and I, for example, today had this feeling of, oh, I'm sort of lonely, and I started to rethink and think through some of the life and understand that time is sort of moving in a certain direction, and that direction is a certain decay and death, and that is inevitable. And I think what makes us feel lonely, sort of lonely, is not necessarily loneliness, because you could be in a room full of people and that people could make you feel so lonely that you will still feel lonely. Feeling of loneliness has, in my case at least, has nothing to do with whether I'm surrounded by people or not. What matters is whether you are surrounded by important people or not. Important people for you. And fundamentally, that is important and not just numbers. And when we experience this feeling of boredom, and we fundamentally realize that life is just going and we are not capable of achieving certain things, and that's pretty normal. So for this video, I want you to think about this way, about life and about reality we live in. Basically, the reality is not real at all. And I've been thinking about this for past week or so, that our reality and things we consider real are not real at all. They're just constructs. We are born as as empty papers, and society writes things here. Our genetic writes things here. Our upbringing, the way we grow up, what type of school we attend, what type of people influence us, what is our genetic, because maybe we are genetically, short, tall, handsome, not so handsome, have different conditions. All those things, has certain influence on us and certain sort of perspective, and which creates our outlook toward life. Because of these experiences, we look at life in a certain way. For example, if we had been raised in society of thieves and society where it's okay to throw people off the building, we would consider it totally normal that people deserve to be killed in a brutal way because they, for example, disagreed with some sort of a laws of the society. Yeah, and for us, that would have been normality. Basically, what we consider also possible or impossible is based on our perception, right? For example, for us, it might be impossible to imagine existence of another sentient civilization. And a lot of people I had conversation with, they expressed this belief and disbelief about the idea of there cannot be, for example, any other serious intelligent life form. Maybe there are some angels and stuff, but not a real alien civilization. That type of civilization cannot exist in the universe because we are so special and we are the only ones. Or people that think that artificial intelligence is impossible because it should serve us as human beings and it should be only our servant. And that's completely understandable. And these people are saying the truth. They're saying the truth from their own perspective. But truth doesn't matter. Like trust, I don't think that trust and reality are the same thing. You could be on a path of a truth, but that truth could be opposite side of a reality. Reality your belief, for example, that if you were to be thrown out of a 10th floor without parachute or without anything, you could believe that when you hit the floor, you will die and you will go somewhere better because you are a good human being. But whether you believe that you are going somewhere better or whether you are not going anywhere else, what is going to happen is that if you are thrown out of the building, you are going to die. Like, the gravity won't be like, I'm going to pity this human being right now. No, gravity will do its job. Like, the reality will do whatever it wants, and you also can defy the reality as a human being. And I think that's what's unique about us. But at the same time, we have to realize that we human beings are really violent creatures, and we have this herd mentality, and also there are certain parts of society and also within us we should be able to recognize sort of an animal within us, because we are human beings. Like, I'm not some sort of a I'm not on this level all the time. For example, I might experience different levels of in my life. Sometimes I could be a higher version of myself, and sometimes for whatever reason I could just be a lower version of myself, and that's totally fine. Like, idea that just because somebody is telling you something and somebody is able to sort of have a certain thoughts, that person is excluded from certain emotions or certain feelings. That's, by the way, something very specific about people, that they want to project this perfect person image to somebody else and be like, oh, this person I am voting for right now, or this person I'm supporting is such a great person. And that's herd mentality. That's what herd mentality fundamental is. And to return to the main point, is that we are pretty violent creatures, and we sometimes experience this feeling of need when we feel worthless. Like, when we are fundamentally experiencing this feeling, we want to attach ourselves to something great. We want, okay, let's say we are feeling like this. We are worthless. We don't like our life. We don't like our environment. We don't like people. We have a conversation or a relationship every day. Like, we just don't like these people and their family, anything. Suddenly, this type of people want to attach themselves to something great. For example, nationalism, where people, for whatever reason, when they are worse, they have this feeling of, oh, superiority. I am this from this nation, and therefore I am from a superior culture, much more superior than yours. And that's where that type of attitude comes from, fundamentally. Right, and a lot of psychologists probably know about this, but this is not like widely discussed, because it is easier to hate than to try to understand something. And yes, hate is always easier than understanding. But the truth is that's where idea of nationalism comes from. If you look at the poorest nations, where there is higher level of poverty and very high level of illiteracy and etc., people tend to be more patriotic and more nationalistic there, because what else can they do? What else can you do? And this feeling of desperation forces people to do unconscious actions, by the way. And birth rate usually in such type of countries is highest because people are following the flow of life like dead fish would. They are following their cultural norms and etc. But like dead fish would, not because like at the age of, for example, 20, that person wants to have a family. No, most likely not. But that's just a dead fish following the river. It's what the culture told that person, and that's what the person is going to do. Not maybe that person has deep down some other desire or whatever, but that person is just following the river. And to look at this way, what is reality, right? First of all, we have again truth and reality. These two things have nothing to do with each other, but if you were to imagine a circle, your trust is irrelevant compared to the reality. Like reality is superior, fundamental. It's superior in every way, yet it is inferior for you as a creature. You can defy reality in a certain limited way, but that reality which you are constructing is inferior compared to the greater reality, but at the same time it is superior for you as an inferior creature. In that sense, it's there that doesn't want to see the reality as way it is. And we have to think about this way: when people dare to say that, hey, you, I am the only one who knows the truth because look at my ancestors, look at my culture, I'm superior to you. And that's how people have arrogance in them. Like it takes certain arrogance to assume that you are the only one that understands fundamental reality. And this is one of the things I often criticize myself about. When every time I notice certain arrogance in me, I'm like, Georgi, what are you doing right now? There is reality and there is your arrogance. Look at the reality instead of your arrogance and your upbringing and your biases you have because of your upbringing. But it is a very hard thing to do. Like, people don't realize how serious of influence our upbringing has to us. It blinds us. In fact, literally what we see is not real. Like how we interpret things. For example, let's say I did this. Like, it depends on how you look at this. For certain people, this could be something, expression of some, oh, this person doesn't respect me, or whatever, or this person, oh, just are you okay, or whatever. But the way you interpret that is about you. Fundamentally, it says much more about you than it would say about me. And the way you interpret that would be how you will behave later. And it's like very intriguing rabbit hole to go down to. And I don't want to just go down to deeply in this rabbit hole right now, because I started this as sort of conversation about my birthday, and now I'm on this conversation. But it is sort of interesting that human beings always had certain arrogance in them, and it is pretty natural. But we have to realize this: reality doesn't care. In a certain sense, like, universe is so vast, and us as human beings are so irrelevant compared to the universe. Like, you have to really put your ego away and your biases away just to think about how insignificant, how irrelevant our existence is. And that's how I'm connecting this to the birthday, by the way. Our birthday, that's how everything starts for us. How insignificant, how irrelevant the birth is, how irrelevant like human civilization is. I know that we live in society where there is like a common thing to talk about. Oh, make the lasting impact. What you do matters. You are very important. By the way, hypocrisy of society to say that. But you are very important. Of course, society wants to install that thing in us, but just think about it. Like, how irrelevant is, like, let's say whoever you are, let's say you are a great general, you're a great philosopher, great scholar, who cares? Like, look at the vastness of the universe. You really think what we do here matters? How many years has it been since human beings sent another human being to space? And look at it. Look what we are wasting our time about. Like, look how easy it is for people to change. You give a person $100, still kind of relevant person. You give a person $10,000, you suddenly seeing that person show more of self, and that's how people change. That's how people usually not necessarily change, but show their true face. But what is their true face is simply a writing of a society. You have to understand that people don't fall from the skies. They are raised in the same environment and same culture, and culture produces people. The day and the moment you feel this feeling, understand this: you are not alone. You are with universe. The life is so interesting. And there are so many things to do. I used to say often that I am quite bored, and now I realize that boredom is just a depression, really. And to be bored is not normal, and it should not be a normal to be bored. Life is hard for most people. You have to work, you are coming home tired, and and you have to still somehow manage to live after work or after studying, and you just have this expectation, and yet we spend our life on this spiral, and this is of life of most people on this planet. And you know we have so much in common, and we should not allow this our upbringing to divide us. We all have common issues, we all have common problems, we have common pain. We should calm down, take a deep breath, and allow ourselves to feel.